This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Elfie Ray of Fairy, Pelly Birdie of Balmung, and Kirith Stormbringer of Ultros.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Unhero.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
Ascalia.
Holy shit, totally forgot about him.
And Mika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 14, part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2. There we go. There's a proper goddamn waterfall.
Which means you did it in the wrong place, Juxta. What part of Surprise Waterfall don't you understand?
Surprise
God
waterfall.
damn it. It means wait for him to get on a really good roll when he really wouldn't want us to do it.
Wanting to do it.
I hate you.
I hate you too more.
Welcome back. This is an exciting episode for Limit Break Radio. We are closing in on becoming a weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. I hope you guys are excited as we are, because we are definitely excited.
Super
and
excited.
That's all because of your support over at patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. And boom, look at that. Another tick up. We are up to 1568 on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. It is we're excited to be back, and today is an exciting episode because joining us we have someone who I'm a huge fan of their YouTube channel. I've been avidly watching their videos now for months. Ethis Asher is joining us. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Limit Break Radio.
There it is. Thanks for having me, guys.
I finally got it right. God damn it! I have been mispronouncing Ethis's name for weeks now as we've been doing some promo leading up to the show.
Only took Kahlo to fix it.
Yeah, well, and Ethis. So we are
much too polite.
We are broadcasting live from Korthus, and we're gonna go ahead and switch the stream over. Still got a lot of people dancing on the table.
Hey, get off that table.
Yeah.
Get down from there.
That's an end of episode only.
Yeah, the hell, guys.
How long have we been
Stick my
doing
face in
this?
In fact, it's usually at the end of part 3 that people get on the goddamn
it's
table.
my fault.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
didn't
isn't
have
that
a
Nico?
chair, and I decided to dance. And they
Well, maybe if you were on time for once, you would have a chair.
Boo!
What happens when Ascalia takes my chair?
Because I'm on time.
No, it's because you left early. I was asleep.
I sat down in that chair at like 1:57.
Yeah. He was anything
Oh,
but
157.
early.
You were. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he was anything but
okay,
early.
to be fair, I went to the
Sleep?
Your Free Company House studio first because I forgot we moved today.
So did Ascalia.
By the way, we are broadcasting live in Korthus. If you'd like to join us, we are in the Observatorium pub in Korthus because, of course, we're outlaws in in the Three
And
Nations.
speak for yourself. I'm still a fucking rock star.
Okay, if you were you ever a rock star?
I will stroll head held high right into Ul'dah and nobody lay a finger on me.
I love the reactions that you get from NPCs when you walk into places
It
now.
is pretty cool how NPCs react. So today we're going to be talking. We're having a big spoilerific story discussion with this, which is
That's
why.
right. Spoilers. Leave now if you don't want it ruined.
them.
Yes, this is
We're
your.
sorry, but we're kicking you out.
This is your warning. If you do not want spoilers, please leave the stream now.
Don't listen to this episode until you finish.
So
Yes.
any and all spoilers, right?
We're going to be talking any spoilers from any of 2.0, any Binding Coil of Bahamut,
Anything 14?
anything 14, 2.5, all the way through 2.55. Everything is fair game. We are lifting the embargo on spoilers.
But we're
guys.
not going to spoil Heaven's Ward.
Well, we can't.
We're under
might spoil
NDA.
Ellswood.
Shh.
We might have every prediction correct and spoil it for everyone.
Yeah.
We're total assholes.
Might happen.
Well, we have Ethis here, so I think that we have
know the whole story
advantage.
already.
That's how his channel is so good. They give him the story 6 months in advance. He has time.
Oh, that's cheating.
Well, it's actually Poe. It's actually the bird. It's all the bird. He's the real brains. And he's in bed, so I'm flying blind here. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Flying blind. I see what he did there.
Clever. Okay, all right. Well, thank you, Ethis, for joining us. And I think the real reason that you're here is that all of us are potentially incompetent, except for you. Like like I feel like you've got the handle on what is going on in Eorzea because your videos have helped me understand what's going on in Eorzea, and I've played all of it, and that's a problem for me. And you're smart. So.
Don't touch his dick.
So Ethis is designed to be a check against our idiocy. So again, thank you for joining us, and check out his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ethis Asher, and go over there and subscribe because he makes honestly my favorite videos in Eorzea.
And come on, listen to that voice.
Right? That's worth a sub.
People already saying that they could listen to him read the phone book.
Hey, that's
actually not the first time I've heard that.
That's a compliment. I don't know that I've ever gotten that compliment because they're just.
Did you say man?
Let's just get Ethis and Fatsuno together, and I think we would explode everyone's eardrums.
Yeah, actually, there's a great show right there. Let's get Ethis and Fatsuno to host a show together
and read the phone book.
Just read the phone book.
Read the phone book.
Yeah. Or they could just read things that the chat wants.
Wait, no, I got it. If we get them to do a show and we track down Toilet ERP Guy and have him write the script.
No.
The rating might be up there.
Yeah. Let's maybe not do that. All right. So I think the best way to sort of preface this discussion is by sharing the Heavensward trailer that was premiered last night on the producer live letter. So let's go ahead and get that up on screen. And we'll go ahead.
16.
Peggy 16.
Last chance for spoilers. Get the fuck out.
Last chance. Last warning.
No, too late. You have to stay now.
Final warning. Here we go.
You're locked in.
I'm going to make this a little bit bigger.
That's what she said.
What?
Sorry to block off the chat. Wow. Yeah.
Can we talk during it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't hear it.
So you can watch a Nero fail.
There's no voiceover. Yeah, sorry you can't hear it.
This
Nika.
character model will forever be a Nero.
And I'm like a few seconds behind you guys and watching it too. I'm on par with the chat.
Sorry to cover up the chat during this portion. Kind of think the video sort of takes priority.
Just custom these heroes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is not Susan Calloway singing this.
It's not.
It's definitely not.
Doesn't sound like her.
But the song changes and gets more epic later on, so I wonder if there's more to it or if it's just
I guarantee there's more to it. But I have to wonder if this is going to take the place of Answers. Like, if this is going to be sort of like, you know.
This is the
Alexander music's going to Remix of this.
Right.
I hope it is, to be honest.
I mean,
think
Coil's
it's a
like
great
that.
track.
Well, it is composed by Uematsu, so
You can tell though. Like,
you can so tell.
Yeah.
Not that we don't love Soken.
Shiny.
God, this looks so good.
I know. I wish any cutscene in the original ending cutscene, if it wasn't including your character, I wish they would have done it like this.
I know.
Look how beautiful Nanamo looks. Oh my gosh.
failed in Nero.
No.
Fly.
So have we all decided that Sid's gonna build Robon a robo arm?
Oh fuck yes!
Yes.
Didn't even think about that.
Automail. I didn't think about that either.
I would love to see Dark Knight Raubon with a robot arm.
So is it just me, or does this dragon look like the weird love child between Falcor the Luck Dragon and Wamora from FF11?
It's not anything that we've seen yet. You know, like there's way more wings on that than anything that we've seen so far in terms of Dragonkin. So
come on.
See, I'm trying to get excited. That rug's getting pulled out from under me.
No, you shouldn't be.
I know. I want to be, but I can't be.
I feel like Dragoon's just throwing that awful ranged weapon skill they have.
Piercing Talon.
Yeah.
Piercing Talon.
like the little divot it makes in the wood. Like, goddamn Square Enix, your attention to detail.
See, look, he obviously has his own. Oh, it's probably just an in-room.
It's an in-room. That's what we said.
It's an in-room.
Goddamn.
Nice view, though.
I'm thinking that's probably Sea of Clouds right there.
Yeah, that is Sea of Clouds.
Yeah.
So pretty.
I want that beard. Square Enix, give me that goddamn beard.
Hey, you take your Mongolian beard and you like
exactly how you feel.
It makes me upset.
The thing that makes me really upset is the head of the Holy See, the Pope guy. He's got the massive, awesome fucking Ellison beard. That's not an option. That is in the game. That is in the fucking data files. And
yeah,
that's an awesome shot right there.
Yeah, it is.
With Raubon.
Yeah.
I like a lot of that.
Fuck the lollipop.
Real Barney is scruffy memories.
I want it to be like when you actually go pull out your pole arm and you go into stance, like your gear like clasps down around you like that.
I bet you would when you want to pull out your pole arm.
I pull out my pole arm on stream every night. Ew.
And clasps it tight.
That's right.
All right, so that was the trailer premiered last night at the producer live letter. And of course, everyone, super hype. Basically, an extended version of what we had already seen out at FanFest, and expanded to include, some of the 2.55 storyline, as well as some additional scenes from what should be included in Heavensward. And so I thought that maybe this would be this is probably a good chance to talk about this stuff. So we want to get your input, though, on any of the 2.55 story. Where you think we're going to be going with Heavensward, and you can do that. You can join us as a caller to Limit Break Radio by sending a Skype message over to Limit Break Radio. Let us know what your character name and server is, and we'll get you in on the show. Or you can dial 810-515-8715, and we'll try to take your call. If we don't get to it, you can leave us a voicemail, and we'll play some of your voicemails if you happen to leave them. So if we don't get to you, we apologize, but take some consolation and leave us a little voicemail message. So let's first talk. Let's talk about 2.55, because holy shit, this shit was like an episode of Game of Thrones, but only one episode. It was
yeah, we know which one. It was End of Evangelion.
Pretty much.
For me, the part that gets spoiled, there in the trailer, wasn't even like the biggest, wasn't even the thing that made me go, holy shit.
The Sultana dying, I don't think anyone was too shocked.
We all predicted none of
Yes.
it.
Yeah, it was kind of
we all called that.
It's not just about being shocked, though. Even knowing something's going to happen, it can still, provoke a pretty hard emotional response from you.
Sure.
Especially the way they got the tears in her eyes.
Especially the way that they executed.
Yeah, it was pretty violent.
It was very
and drawn out,
dramatic.
wasn't it?
It was the absolutely the dramatic execution of these cutscenes was totally on point. Everything was on point. But they definitely foreshadowed Nanamo being killed. That was definitely not a surprise. Definitely saw that one coming. And I think especially with the poison being delivered by the handmaiden, kind of saw that one coming. That was not a big surprise either.
I didn't expect to be framed for it.
Are you kidding? When you pick up the empty vial, you didn't think you were going to be framed for it.
That one actually caught me off guard.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was for.
Oh my god!
Maybe Minfilia left this here. I was like, what is
when
this?
Momodi says you should hold on to that.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it!
God damn it!
I like the moment that she picked up the cup. I'm like, I'm about to get busted for this shit. But it wasn't until that moment where I was like, oh, this is gonna suck.
Where you put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, well, she takes the drink, and I'm literally sitting there like, this is not gonna go well for anybody.
Don't drink the drink. Don't drink it. It's bad.
I almost thought Momodi
Immediately
set me
after
out
that
there
happened.
for a reason. Like Momodi lied about. So
I know. I'm actually wondering if
I was
she's
like, oh.
in on it.
No, I don't think she was in on it.
I
in
don't
the
think
end.
so. I thought Momodi wanted me
I
to
was
have
worried
that
about that for a
vial.
minute.
I thought the vial I had was like an antidote, and I could save her.
Yeah, I thought
like
that,
somebody knew it was coming. Like I didn't expect that. It would be
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
I didn't even really think of that possibility.
No, I
So
just thought I was.
so
gonna
when
get
I
framed.
was when I was doing the cutscenes on the stream, and then they're like, "Oh, we even found the vial on her body." That's when it clicked, and I was like, "What the fuck, bullshit!" Like I did not even connect the dots on that one.
Yeah, I thought like that Crystal Brave we were going to meet in Thanland was like gonna help us like stop the plot or something. I was like, oh no, she got captured. This must be a clue to show who got her.
I was thinking the opposite. I thought we were going to go out there and it was going to be a setup for us to get offed. Like I thought we were going to be like
there was going to be
an
like
assassination on us right there.
There was going to be like an ambush or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking hanging out there.
Yeah, being framed, I think that was definitely an interesting twist, and I like how the minute she's on the ground, it's just like boom,
Adeleji right there,
and dude, what a dick!
Oh,
Wow, Square Enix wrote an incredible dick character with Teleji Adeleji.
That smirk is so perfect on his face.
It really makes me wonder if they took inspiration from our show, right, Juxta? Dick.
Damn.
You too today.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Shots fired.
You know what?
Shots fired.
If Square Enix takes inspiration from me for Teleji Adeleji,
I'm obviously fan cred.
No.
Yeah. All right. Can we just set this little lovers tiff aside for now and concentrate on the fucking topic?
That's a great
please?
idea, Nero. Please just keep it toned down.
Set him
Juxta.
aside. Like, just shut him off the show for today.
Yeah, no.
You know what? Forever.
No.
You're right. Forever.
No.
I agree.
No. You're the only one who loses the mic privileges because you're the only one who really abuses them.
What? I never abuse it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to abuse my drops now, too.
Oh, God. Of course you are. Yeah, what a great asshole character in Teleji Adeleji. I mean, everything from the vocal performance right down to the animation.
That smirk.
Totally.
Oh, that smirk.
The smirk.
That, like, him getting cut down was just, like, the
I actually can't believe they went
at
there.
half
Yeah,
mast.
I thought they were going to stop.
That was the first thing that really blew my mind. Like, I'm like, holy crap.
Oh, that was so satisfying.
It was so. Ethis just said it perfectly. It was so satisfying. You're just like, yes, die, you scumbag.
It was extra satisfying because for a moment you think that like, nah, they're not going to go there. Like he's going to stop. It's not going to happen. And then all of a sudden he
Or that
does it, and
somebody
you're
was
like,
gonna
this is
stop
not
him.
the ending
Yeah.
I expected to be watching.
Yeah.
It really.
Well, I got into the start of the cutscenes. And immediately after Nanamo died, I got 90K'd.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
Oh, I did something
And
wrong. The
this-
game
this
just
was at,
disconnected
like-
me.
This was at like midnight, 1 a.m., and I was just like, no.
Wait, are you
No,
telling me
I
you
can't
didn't
do
give
it.
you didn't give her the antidote?
So she's dead in your game then.
I was seriously like, no, I cannot do this. I need to take a walk. I went to bed. I got up the next morning and watched the cutscenes again. And when Teleji got cut down, I was like, oh yeah.
It is such a
But watching her
satisfying
die
moment.
twice was.
Yeah, it is.
That was
It is.
awful.
It is a massively gratifying moment,
and that line though by Raoban.
Yeah.
If you're gonna mock her in hell.
Oh, it was so perfect. That whole scene though was just grand execution on Essie's part.
Absolutely.
And I mean everything. Like the whole plot is so masterfully put together. with the exception of, oh, wait, we actually have to, like, beat them. Like, we actually have to be able to fight them and win. Outside of that one little detail, like, the whole plot is perfectly done, and just waiting for that moment where they could strike like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, and what I really hope is that Square Enix doesn't pull any punches here. That the people that we think are dead are dead.
Yeah.
Because there's some sort of permanence there. You know, like
none of the Scions are dead.
Because I don't think that any of them necessarily were put into a position where they were where you're like, oh, they're dead. All right.
No, I think Minfilia was the only one who I don't think, like, if anyone's alive, it's Minfilia.
Yeah.
I think the other people left
AOE
behind
Final
knowing
Heaven?
it was like a Zack
Come
situation.
on.
Like, I know there's a ton of people running at me. I'm one person. I'm going to stand here and sacrifice myself so my friends can get away. Minfilia was the only one who's like, Heidelin's telling me I have a mission. Goodbye. You know, like... You know.
Look, if there's one thing you know about the Final Fantasy franchise, it's that if you don't actually see someone die, they're not dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is why we know none of
for all
them,
intents
so.
and purposes, they're not dead.
But there are some people, there is a contingent of people out there who refuse to believe that Nanamo's actually dead, that we're actually going to come across her in Heaven's Word. I would be so... whatever, Square Enix, you write whatever you want to write, but I would personally be really disappointed if that's the case, because it takes all of the emotional impact from these scenes out of it.
No,
I
don't see them unwriting that. That was a bold choice. It was the right choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, in regards to the fates of the Scions, I think that you can still get powerful stuff out of them. And if one or two of them is like permanently injured in some way, that's one thing. I could see us having to rescue some of them from captivity, or Y'shtola and Thancred could be trapped down there, and we have to find a way to dig them out. I mean, there's just so many things that they could do with all of that.
Yeah, sure.
And one of the reasons that I don't think specifically that Y'shtola would perish is she gave that name just before it happened. She said she apologized to someone,
which is her sister.
Okay, yeah.
Which is she's an NPC that's attached to the what was it, Arcanist quests or Scholar quest? What is it? I know it's one.
It's Arcanist.
Arcanist. Okay. Thank
and
you.
do they fully explore that in the Arcanist, or is there?
It's heavily implied. This was the first real confirmation that we got that they were sisters.
Okay, and why would they then kill her off when now they have all of that to explore?
I don't know. I think that they could explore it through the character of her sister.
I think she's not dead because they're putting her in Dissidia.
I hate. We talked about that on Chocobo Dash, and I hate the idea of them making story based off decisions like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll second that.
Well, because Dissidia is all about like realms and like blah 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 blah. So she could technically die here or
and still exist in
I just feel like since Dissidia is not out yet, and they're trying to like especially promote her character in 14, then people come and they're like, oh, she's just dead. I don't know. I feel like if she's going to die, it would be later.
Well, there's also, there's also been tweets from some of the voice actors.
Yeah, Thancred's voice actor says that he's loving his roles in Heaven's Ward.
Here's the thing, though, is that he could be doing another character.
Could be doing it
flashbacks.
Or doing flashbacks.
Echo scenes.
They could be like spirits of Heidelin at this point, sent to help us at some point.
Yeah.
Suddenly Thancred and Ida's spirit show up to help you in some way.
There could be a lot of things, because the voice acting in FF14 there isn't a ton of it.
Plus, I think that Thancred would work at this point as like some type of really good like mentor character. I mean, he used to be an adventurer like us, and then he took an arrow to the knee.
Of course,
he did take an arrow to the knee.
In fact,
I don't get it.
Boo!
Can we all agree on one thing, though? Out of all the Scions, Yida was the most epic with that AoE Final Heaven.
Oh, it was so good.
And the chip in her mask.
Oh, that was so awesome. I thought she was going to pull it off after that.
To finally get to see her, like her eye, just like as she's looking. Oh, it was so perfect.
I honestly got a boner. I was like, dude,
I figured
so
they
hot.
wouldn't show us because they showed us Yugiri's face. They're not going to show us two faces in the same cutscenes.
Just the eye was enough, because like
although I guess Ida's was first.
Speaking of hot, Yugiri is also really hot.
Was there any question?
Well, dude, the aura. I mean, it just that's a really good forward sell for the aura.
They're just so mysterious.
Definitely.
No, what I got out of those cutscenes the most is that double limit breaks where you like take a black mage and like power up a monk.
I was gonna say, yeah. I'm like, how did he just pass off? That's
Can we have those, please?
That's way better than what Nika does when we're in raids and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sprint to give us a little bit of limit break gauge." You need to step up your game, Nika.
You're welcome.
So yeah, that's all of the Scions dying. We don't really know what
They're
their
not
fate is,
dead.
but I mean, like, I don't know. I think the implication, you know, like, I don't know.
I think they're at least captured. There's no way they can get out of that. Minfilia might be the only one who's still free somewhere because Hydaelyn's the one who told her to do something.
Well, they'll definitely be captured. We'll probably think that they're dead until a couple of patches in, and then we'll find out they're alive through someone and have to go rescue them.
I hope that like some of them have went like undercover and we think they're a villain, and then they have this grand reveal.
I love the idea of them being dead because it just reinforces like this thing that Essie has taken with Eorzea, is that it can be a bad place where bad things happen to people, and everyone you like isn't coming home at the end of the day.
But if they're going to do that, the fact that they just all died or some of them just died off screen, I think that's also missing out on opportunities. If they're going to kill anybody,
that's why I think Nanamo is definitely.
Well, for example, let's say that Thancred and Y'shtola are still down there somewhere, or they escaped in some way, right?
Okay.
But Papalymo and Yitta, they got captured.
Okay.
There's no way around that. Even if they defeated all of those Brass Blades and Crystal Braves,
thousands more.
There's more coming. So imagine at some point they're being tried, and one of our missions is to rescue them, but we don't get there in time. We get there just as they're executed.
Oh, that would be
way
sweet.
more powerful.
Oh my God, I would
way
quit this
fucking
game.
better.
That's actually wow.
Yes,
that's
right?
brutal.
Way better than just they died in off screen in these fucking cutscenes.
I totally agree, dude. That would be heartbreaking.
Dude, that would be brutal, but at the same time, like I loved Ida and Papalymo. They get the Louisoix fade to white as they give their lives to help you escape from this.
That's true.
What more do you want out of a death scene?
And that is pretty thematically accurate, given that these are all the students of Louisoix.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's another reason we don't see it is because a lot of it is like you're supposed to feel how your character is feeling. Like you feel like you were framed. Your character has no idea if they're dead or alive. So I feel like if they showed it on screen, it would kind of imply that your character knows. There's no way your character would know.
But there's also this. I mean, there's also this other thing where all the characters that we thought had died from 1.0, the big characters like Louisoix and Nail.
Louisoix was more or less dead.
But they found ways to bring them back and reincorporate them into the story, to either give 1.0 a sense of closure or to just use the character models again. And I mean, I don't mean to sound that cynical, but it did take some of, because it did feel like Louisoix was turned into this like mythical like paragon in the FF14. Like he was,
he became legend.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there are other characters who legit did die in the Calamity that, there are
NPCs you can look on Gamerscape Wiki that says ever since the Calamity they are no longer around.
Right. And other NPCs will kind of refer to them, or they'll be less known, but it seemed like Louisoix, like he especially with the way that the staff was put up behind Minfilia's desk, it felt like
it was a Horcrux.
But you guys know what I mean. Like when he came back in T12, or actually when he came back like during all of the lead up through Binding Coil, it kind of felt like it took a little bit of the impact out of that. It was at the same time it was also very compelling because you're like, what the fuck is he doing?
Very well though, like you see him like in the distance, and you're like, wait, is that him? Could that be him? And you're like, what the fuck? And then I thought it was someone like impersonating him or like a ghost. Like you don't know.
I think by the time you actually see Louisoix, he's become almost so like twisted away from his original purpose that like it doesn't really diminish what he was in 1.0.
See, I wonder if you guys feel this way because you played 1.0, because obviously I didn't. I myself have
in
absolutely...
1.0 he didn't do very much.
I have absolutely no...
Yeah, he had a much bigger role in 2.0 than he did in
1.0. He was the person who transported you to the primal battle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But he sat there in Gridania where you get the achievement items now. He sat there over by the water and just teleported you places.
But they had set him up as having a larger role. I mean, his flavor text was pretty.
Well, okay, but see, that's the thing I'm talking about. For you guys, he was just an NPC that teleported you, and now they're saying, oh, he's this thing of legend. So you have sort of two conflicting images of what.
No,
of what
he became legend when he stood up to Bahamut in that final cutscene.
But again, that's the thing I'm saying. That's all I know him for.
Right.
Period.
That's where we
Just
started
that.
with him, is what you're saying.
I never saw him as some NPC that teleported you before. Right from the start, he was this paragon of
we saw him as a normal person,
immense power, and he died. I never got a chance to know him, so for me, he has always been this legendary character.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I guess Kylo's character never knew him as a friend like our character did.
Yeah, or just as the dude who teleported you around. Yeah, basically. So yeah, but the thing, the crux of what I'm getting to here is that they have a little bit of wiggle room with the Scions and their connection to Louisoix and being able to bring them back. Nanamo, I think, is pretty clear cut. We all kind of agree in the room. I'm not sure if there's anyone who would want to call up and disagree with us, but Nanamo feels like it's got to be like an Ares style, like dad. Like that's a bold choice.
Can we bring her back with the Game Shark?
Yeah, exactly. Right there. Yeah, exactly.
There's talk of like the Monetarists, like having like a puppet Nanamo now that they're going to use to
see.
rule.
That would be interesting as long as it's not the actual
corny.
Nanamo. Yeah. So yeah, I think. I think any of those are possible.
Well, the reason I like the idea so much of the Scions actually being dead is that when we go into 3.0 and we go to Heavens or we go to Ishgard, I now go into that terrified that one of my companions might get offed. Like, I now have actual fear for someone I care about in this game dying, whereas until this last patch, I never really had any thoughts that anyone died. Even in this big, great calamity from 1.0 to 2.0, pretty much everyone of importance outside of Louisoix lives.
But you see, they can still get that effect from you.
Not if they bring them all back.
And more. No, that's what I'm saying, though. You don't need to have them have died during this particular time to get that effect on you. Like I said, first mission we get is that, hey, we've heard of Yida and Papalymo. They're still alive. We can save them, right?
Right.
And maybe we even do, right? We get there. We stop the execution, and as we're leaving, someone pops up and offs one of them, like as we're out the gate kind of
But
thing.
for what purpose? Like, we're already at the point where they have torn us down. They have torn us apart in these last few scenes.
It's Asians, it's just like you said. You said you want to be able to feel like no one's safe. And the fact that we are out the door,
in normal games,
we
you'll
actually
think,
saved them.
I can do it because I'm the main character.
And we didn't?
But what Kala was saying
Same
is that no matter what, just knowing that not every mission is 100%.
But we've already got that. I already feel like nothing is safe. I just watched all my companions die. Like, I already have that feeling.
You just want to save your feelings. You just want to get it all over with at once.
He doesn't want his heart broken again.
Everyone's dead.
Well, I mean, but the whole point of this patch was the great fall and of us being torn down, kind of ripped back down to earth from being great,
Everyone's
right?
Dead.
Yeah, and you know what? Things are going to get a hell of a lot worse before they get better, Escalia.
You know what? You could be right. Midgard Stormer says...
brought up Moon Vrida.
Well, Midgard Stormer says as you're looking onto Ishgard, he says, you think you're going to, you will find death and worse here.
Right, and so what I'm saying is they don't need to be dead. They still have use.
Sure.
They still have use, and to just kill all of them or even some of them off camera, I think is underutilizing the full potential that they could.
I think it's cheap.
I guess, but I think it would be cheap to bring them back just to kill them again.
No, but that's the thing. Bring them back. They're not. We don't know that they're dead.
That's how to tear your heart apart, because you're already torn apart because you think they're dead. But since we didn't see them die, they're going to bring them back. We're happy, and then they kill them again.
It's called playing with the audience's expectation. Like that's really what they would be doing by, hey, your companions might possibly still be alive, and you go, oh, well, that allows me to hope that they're still alive, and then, hey, maybe one or two of them are actually still alive, and you almost save them, and then boom, in comes an Ascian and offs.
How's this for a compromise there in between? You get word.
Why are we compromising on anything? It's not like we have any amount of control over this.
Okay, so fine, a middle ground-ish sort of idea. We get word that, Yida and Papalymo may still be alive. We're going back. We're trying to break into Ul'dah to find out. We get to this grand ending cutscene where we find out that, no, they are not actually alive. Like, this is them luring us back to Ul'dah with the promises of them maybe being alive.
That would suck, too.
Okay. Yeah. there's a lot more.
As long as they utilize something.
Yeah, there's a lot more that they can do than just the fade to white, I think is the point. The fade to white. I mean,
I thought it was so perfect.
Thematically, it works because again, students of Louis Soix. Again, it's thematically pretty good. But again, like Louis Soix, I don't think that this has to be the end of their story, and I don't think that it is. I absolutely don't think that it is. I think we'll definitely be seeing more of the Scions in Heavensward. So, but I agree, Kahlo. I love that idea of just bringing them back to kill them. That's a great. I love that's playing some more Game of Thrones shit. I don't want to just turn Final Fantasy 14 into Game of Thrones Online.
You sound like you kind of do. I'm not gonna lie,
but a little salty.
But it has nothing to do with salt. But it has to do with good, compelling storytelling because they've done so much to set up these characters that we feel attached to in a way that I feel like sort of out of the gate, that was one of the criticisms of FF14 was that, none of the characters really like stood out, especially in 1.0. Like there,
absolutely.
None of the NPCs that you met were really all that memorable. Even the cutscene NPCs were sort of interchangeable and you got them mixed up all the time. But here comes, once Yoshi, once he came in and stepped in and he started really introducing strong characters as the leaders of the three nations. I mean, we did have the Scions, but
I still do feel like until this final cutscene, other than like Thancred and Alpha Note, I feel like the Scions still, until this final cutscene, didn't have much of an impact on me.
I was going to say, obviously we care for them because they're the Scions, but I think that Square Enix in this next expansion can up the game and get them more involved with us in the quests and make us feel more for them.
And how quickly do we supplant them? They don't kill them in our first mission because honestly, I want to know more about them, and like I know by looking on the wiki and listening to lore things like what happened from long before 1.0 where they came from, but like your character doesn't know them for that, and like and I feel like maybe Y'shtola we know a little about, and Minfilia now once we learned about her past, but like Papalymo I know literally nothing.
Him and Yida, absolutely nothing about them.
Ethis, I thought I heard you bring up a really good point that how quickly are we going to be supplanting them? As in, like, how quickly are we going to be moving on and utilizing a different group to the ends, like the ends of Heavensward? You know,
I think I said that, asshole.
Oh, did you? Oh,
wow, he called you out, man.
I'm going to assume that it was Ethis anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Ethis. I appreciate that.
Lovely.
It was on purpose.
Yeah, I think we're going to be finding some new and some different allies apart from the Scions, and I think that having them out of the picture for the time being, it doesn't have to be permanent. It gives us an opportunity to find our new allies. I mean, we've got Midgard's Zorma at the moment. I'm absolutely convinced that Lady Iceheart is on our side, and that her breaking the wards at Ishgard there was sort of instrumental for Ishgard opening their gates because she has some idea of what's happening with the Ascians there.
That's definitely interesting. And there was a line from one of the final Coil cutscenes that I thought was also really interesting, where someone said it doesn't matter if you're fighting for Hydaelyn's children or Bahamut's children, that this needs to come to a resolution. And I thought that was a really interesting choice of lines, because like is there going to be a point where we are kind of sympathizing with the Dravanians, or even trying to like work with them?
Probably, because
I think we already are.
You do?
I think we're already very much sympathizing with them.
I don't sympathize
It's
with the Dravanians
heavily
at all
implied, particularly through Coil, that the Dravanians are actually descendants of the Mericidians that survived the fall of the Allagan Empire, and they're all basically ex-slaves of the Allagans.
Right.
And that gives you obviously develop a lot of sympathy for the Mericidians through the Coil scenes. And I think that when Midgard Zorma is talking about children paying for their father's crimes, he's sort of talking about us as inheritors of that Allagan sin.
Oh, you think so?
And yeah, I think he's talking partly about that and partly about the fact that we've got the same Ascian influences and the fact that he's conscious, and I think Iceheart is conscious of what's going on behind the Holy See with the Ascians, though.
Well, yeah, because that is another implication that the Archbishop is that the leader of the.
I think so. Yeah,
that's right. That the Archbishop, in the one scene that we've seen with him in it, behind him are two of the Ascians, the white, I can't remember his name right now. I can't remember any of their names.
I just remember Mutton Chops.
No.
Elidibus?
I know.
Elidibus.
Or La Habrea.
Elidibus, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it's Elidibus.
And who was and there was another one. There was a dark Ascian.
Not La Habrea, is it?
I don't think it's is it La Habrea? I mean, the identifying thing is their face markings, and I'm not sure that we saw.
We're talking about that final cutscene.
We're talking about the two people you see behind the Archbishop.
Yeah, the two people behind the Archbishop that we saw maybe closer to. I think that was just before Shiva was released. So it does. I mean, there is a heavy implication that whatever is going on in the Holy See is heavily
the Ascians have their fingers in it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And that does kind of bring us to the very final after credits cutscene that we get, where we have two Ascians that are in play there, and again I forget which.
One of those is La Habrea.
One of those is La Habrea
and Elidibus.
Okay, and so they're kind of going back and forth, and then they address a third party, which we find to be Urianger. That
looks pissed to be there.
I don't know. He sort of. I thought
Urianger always looks pissed.
He sort of looked neutral. I thought.
I thought he looked annoyed and irked to be there.
But there was an interesting choice of words in that cutscene where they referred to him as what is it?
Archon.
Archon, yes, which is a term from back in the 1.0 storyline as. The calamity was unfolding. Archons started appearing in the city-states, which was Urianger. It was his character that would appear in Ul'dah and I think some other places, maybe some other camps.
The end is nigh,
and start proclaiming that the end is coming. And they were referred to as Archons. And so I find it a really interesting choice that easily they could have called him a Scion, because Scion, that would have been an applicable title, or even Sharlayan, because he's supposedly of Sharlayan descent. But they chose Archon, which is a callback to 1.0. Ethis, do you have any opinions on that?
Well, all of the Circle of Knowing are self-professed Archons,
right?
And we know that our understanding of the Umbral Calamities is based on this sort of ancient legend of the cycle of the ages, and that upon the cusp of each Umbral area, you have these Archons appearing who sort of understand where it's coming from and how it's coming, and sort of warn people and help people survive in that. I agree that it's very interesting that they're calling him Archon as opposed to Scion.
Right.
And that might be implying that he's sort of a harbinger of some sort of catalyst. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Urianger? I feel like he's playing a really interesting game there. I'm not ready to accept that he's on the Ascian side yet.
Let's look at it this way, all right? Obviously, when we play games like Final Fantasy, there's good and evil. We're the good guys, they're the bad guys. We have to stop the evil forces, right? So let's look at it for a second, not like good and evil, but subjectively, okay? Because whatever the Ascians are trying to do, they're not like, we are evil and we must just destroy everything because that's what we do because we're evil, right? They have some goals in mind for something. Urianger is a very scientific guy, right? The fact that they call him Archon, who you said they are these people who understand why the destructions or whatever's happening is happening, right? So I don't want to say he sympathizes, but if he understands it, I don't know. I don't think that he's necessarily there to spy. I don't think. I feel like he's like
his own party.
Yeah, definitely. Nika and I were talking about that.
What I was thinking,
Go ahead, Nika. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was thinking is like it's one of those character devices where you have someone who's on your side, has his own agenda, and he realizes he can get more out of his own agenda from helping the other side, like Riku in Kingdom Hearts or Joey in Suikoden 2. I was thinking like a character who decides this is how I wanted this to happen, so I'm going to use them for my own means. And so whether or not it means turning your back on your friend or helping the enemy, it doesn't make him evil. It just means he has his own agenda.
A Gendo Ikari, if you will.
Always with the Ava references on the show.
That's just me.
But yes, no.
It's interesting how you talk about the Ascian agenda as something that's not black and white, but it's always seemed to me like they are just perfect nihilists. Their worship of Zodiac is based on this idea that the natural state of the universe is lifeless and nothingness and just void, and that they sort of can't tolerate existence and they can't tolerate growth, and that everything they're doing is about Zodiac sort of consuming and sort of overriding the natural entropy and ultimately destroying Eidolon. So I think that is quite black and white.
Well, no, obviously to us, yeah, destroying all life is evil. But you think in their eyes that they're like, we're evil because we're killing everything?
No, see, they're in an in-between realm. I think when you look at it, the good is us, the evil is the Garleans. Like
I was going to disagree. I was going to disagree because a lot of what Gaius says makes sense. Like there is a certain amount of cold logic that Gaius has where I'm like, okay, like I may not agree.
Still trying to conquer everyone and making an empire doesn't make him a good person.
But again, it's not about being good. Put yourself in his shoes. Do you think I'm an evil person because I'm doing this?
Yeah, because I mean, their big thing is, the Garleans, they see the primals as a big problem, and they also want to control the ether that exists. Like that was their big initial play into Vana'diel. Like, yes, they want to subjugate, but I think that they also want to bring order.
Oh, absolutely.
And like for as evil as we want to make things like the Empire in Star Wars, like if the world is a very dangerous place and you want to try to bring order to it, then what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to impose yourself. I mean, that's what politics is. Like if you want to talk geopolitics, that's why we have wars. We want to establish civilization. I'm using air quotes here. But there is a certain amount of manifest destiny logic that makes sense with the Garleans, where Ethis, I think you bring up a really good point that the Ascians are way more nihilistic and way more like if everything was dead, that's the way that it should be. And I think that is a bit more black and white. But there are layers. There are layers to each level of conflict here. And I think right now, as of 2.55 going into 3.0, it's Eorzea is a really fascinating place to be a part of. To be a denizen of.
So Kuki just mentioned something that I hadn't considered even for like a moment. On Urianger, the Ascians, obviously, they live eternally unless, you intervene. Any chance that Urianger is communicating with the Ascians in an attempt to get Moonbrita back?
I hope not.
That's what I think.
Simply because he is an Archon with all of that kind of outer foresight, and I feel like he, as much as heartbroken as he would be over Moonbrita, I feel like he knows so much more about what's going on than we know. And I think if he was going to defect for any purpose, it wouldn't be for something so simple as that.
I don't think he's defecting. I think that he gathers knowledge. That's what he does. He's a very scientific person. He's very straightforward about things. He has to know how they work. And the fact that I feel like he got closure with the way that Moon died, that I don't think that this whole thing would just be about getting her back.
I just don't. I mean, did you really get a sense? I mean, like, of course they were close, and that that was
they were like really good
established.
friends, and Moonbrita was in love with him, but I don't necessarily think he was in love with her.
I just don't, because she died, and he was like, well, stiff upper lip, like let's just move on.
It showed a scene of him at the end, like being sad.
If you went over to him in the Rising Stones after all those quests were done, he was like, I don't want to talk right now. And that's from Urianger, and he always talks. He loves to talk. That's his thing. Is
I
talking.
must needs be silent right now.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
Dark Kodiak makes a really good point in the chat there. The Garleans are exactly like the Roman Empire. Even their names are taken from Roman names. The thing about Final Fantasy is that in almost every instance, it's sort of a story of Japanese meeting the kind of British colonialism. It's a story of progression and industry to a point corrupting, and that's why we've got these cycle of eras. It's why we've got these empires rising and sort of overreaching themselves. And their hubris makes them vulnerable to the Asian influence.
And that's an interesting observation too, because it seems like the points where you could point to a lot of progress, quote unquote progress, being made, like the cerulean processing plants. That's also at the same time a very industrial, dirty area that it does not. I think the implication there, just from the zone design, is that this is not a very clean process, and it's having an impact on the environment around there. And so, what kind of does that also impact the people, and what kind of influence does that bring? I think that's a legitimate question to ask.
And Ethos, you said the word I think that should ring so true for all of Final Fantasy XIV, and that's hubris. The whole theme that I've seen of Final Fantasy XIV is pride comes before the fall. And it's time after time after time. The Garleans were certain they were going to win, and then they got crushed. And I think that happens twice, in fact, for the Garleans. They have that lovely moment. And now it's Alphinaud, who has been on a mission to save the world and has gotten to the point where he is very prideful and very confident that he is going to save the world. He finally got his comeuppance in this storyline, and in a grand way.
That's actually a really good point. And actually, Juxta, I'd also like to point out that one of the predictions that you had made was that the Crystal Braves were going to fuck some shit up.
Yes. Yeah, and they did.
And I know that you had said, like, oh yeah, we're going to get into it with Alphinaud, but no, like that was a very astute observation that what Alphinaud was creating, what he was building, was far beyond his control.
Yeah.
And in the end, it ended up biting him in the ass. And I thought that was a really, really fantastic observation on your part.
Well, and the whole
I never would have noticed that.
The whole 2.55 storyline built up to it so well. What with him literally confronting the leaders of the three nations and saying, kind of dropping the "Do you know who I am?" almost.
He does. He does.
To get people, to get them to send more help to Ishgard, and finally, Merylveb, however she pronounces it. I just saw that cutscene again, and she pronounces her name for the first time, and it's like, oh, that's how you say that. Anyway, she finally just tells him, basically, you know what, dude? My nation comes first. I don't give a shit about Ishgard.
Yeah.
And this whole story was just kind of his final, his downfall.
How much of a disappointment was it for you guys during the 2.55 final cutscene when all the shit was going down and the other two leaders of the nations just bolted? Like
I was going to talk. I was actually going to talk to that. It was upsetting at first.
No,
but if you think about it, if you think about it, if Merylweb was going to take out her gun and shoot someone, that instantly suspects all of Limsa as being in on this.
That's a good point.
We've talked about how their nation comes first, and if they do not want to put anyone in their nation at risk of any kind of suspect, she needs to peace out.
Yeah.
But the part that bugs me is that when, like, the first, was it Yida was the first one to say, I'm going to stay behind? Your character should have been number one to say, no, I've defeated Bahamut. I've defeated Bahamut.
Yeah. That's the
Give me
one
5
thing
seconds and I'll kill them all.
But hold on. I'm going to give credit to them. When they dropped the gate, okay, we can't. I mean, we could have walked around, but that I get. Okay,
I could blow it up.
It was a circle.
Still, the point is, we were forced to leave at that point. So that one I was okay with. But the Y'shtola and Thancred won, and then the one where Minfilia walks off, and then we're just like, okay, bye. Oh my god, that's the one thing that bugged me. Because, yeah, like you said, we're the motherfucking warriors of goddamn light.
I know, and it's like, if you think about how incredible Bahamut was, and that a lot of us have killed Bahamut, killed all the primals, and they say it's a feat never done before. We are such a powerful person and presence in the entire world, and we run away with our tail between our legs.
I think blades.
Yeah, that's and that's really like that's it.
Hold on. No, okay.
Come on, brass blades and crystal braves. We can't fucking take that.
It's not about physical strength. It's about political power. If you are just been convicted of treason, okay, and your first reaction is to murder all the guards to escape, do you think that's going to help your case at all?
He decided to do it.
Well, and I think we also need to consider that, obviously, for the sake of the game, we only see so many brass blades, but in theory, it's the entirety of Uldah's army, basically, trying to take you down.
I'm 130. I've defeated Bahamut. They're like in level I-40 gear. What are they going to do?
You don't know that. You don't know that.
One damage.
They could be level 80 guards. You know?
Right. At some point, sheer numbers, like let's say if there's 40,000 brass blades, you're not, even if they each hit you for one damage, you're going to get one shot.
Meridium and Praetorium had tons of people. We just exploded with 8 people. Like us and the Scions, like a party teaming up. If we can take down Praetorium and Castrum, we can take down the guards.
But that's not going to solve anything. You're going to bring down now you have everyone hating you because you just murdered an entire contingency.
You have to remember, every one of those brass blades has a family. Hey, guess what? Nika Kyanan, the Warrior of Light, killed your father. And killed the mother of the little girl next door.
Is that justice?
Well, your father was an asshole.
I guess it kind of would. It would kind of.
Those were the corrupt ones, though. They weren't the ones who.
You don't know.
Hang on. They're just getting a paycheck.
Hang on.
The ones you talk to in Ul'dah that have the other brass blades, they don't actually know what happened down there.
So
only the ones who chose to follow and corrupt.
You just leave no witnesses.
Well, so is killing corrupt cops okay? I mean, that's because that's sort of like what if you're going to draw the parallels, if you're going to start killing brass blades, it's kind of like killing cops.
I'm not killing them because they're corrupt. I'm killing them because they legitimately know they're trying to frame me and capture me for something I didn't do because they chose to side with someone who is trying to take down the entire...
I disagree. I don't think that they know that everything's corrupt. They're just pawns, and as the Monetaris, you're not going to go around and tell every single person in your employ...
You said, hey, that person killed the Sultana. Go get her.
Yeah, you're not going to go around and tell all these people you're playing because then it's going to get out. The people who are going after you legitimately believe that you killed the Sultana. Okay, yeah, sure, you've done all these heroic things for us, but obviously it was for your own gain. I mean, yeah, you're helping us, but it's also raising you up.
Who say, I don't believe that you did that.
Yeah. Well, but there, of course, there's always going to be dissent. But what I liked about it was,
but in a moment of crisis, nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to.
You're not thinking
take their orders and they're going to go.
The Sultana's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whoever's going to get the finger pointed at them first, that's going to. I mean, there's basically going to be a witch hunt.
Once they've had a few days to think about it, and wait a minute, the Warrior of Light did not kill the Sultana. That's silly.
But the only thing for me was just that last scene with Minfilia when you're the last one. If she would have had a little bit better monologue, but just watching my guys just walks away. I'm like, damn, come on.
Stoic nod.
I feel like the only reason she did, though, is because she said Hydaelyn spoke to her and told her to do this.
But I would have liked a little bit more, give me a reason to really leave Minfilia.
Because
Hydaelyn
said so. Hydaelyn said so.
Well,
I think that's what makes it hard about an MMO because your character can't talk back to her.
That's true.
And I think since there was only 2 of us, that to make that dialogue really mean something, we would have had to say something to her.
Untrue. I disagree. When she tries to run away, you could have did the doubt emote or whatever, and just have her give us more reason than just Hydaelyn said so.
Well, and I'd imagine that at Come Heaven's Ward, we are going to at some point get some insight into what Hydaelyn said to Minfilia.
That's why I don't think Minfilia is.
Absolutely.
It definitely. Here's the thing, though, is that there's a contingent of people who don't understand, If Minfilia got a message through the Echo, why didn't I also get the message through the Echo?
Because Midgard Stormer.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly right. Because he shattered all the crystals that you had collected and speared you through the heart and removed your gift of the Echo.
He didn't remove it. He suppressed it.
He suppressed it. Yeah,
it's still there.
So that's why Minfilia gets the message and you don't. You're sort of left in the dark.
And that brings us to like the following cutscene, which has been my favorite cutscene in the whole of Final Fantasy XIV, everything considered. And that is that final cutscene where you get out of there, the Chocobo cart from the beginning of the game shows up to take you out, and it's this perfect moment of closure. It has brought the full cycle around. Like, instead of being brought into Ul'dah, you hop into the cart, and this is just some random guy who heeded the call to come help the Warrior of Light and is now helping you escape and get out of Ul'dah the same way you eventually came in.
Here's another thing.
And Pippin. Don't forget Pippin.
Teleport to like Mortono's Aetheryte Crystal. We've seen Minfilia do it. Why couldn't we just teleport out of there?
I think it's to be assumed that
you're in combat.
You're in combat. Okay, fair.
That's true. Good. Oh my God. Wow.
They do mention at Horizon, though, that the states have some form of control over the Aetheryte. I think with the Sultana being assassinated, it's reasonable to assume they would disable the Aetheryte.
That's always been our...
No, but they would disable the Aetheryte around Ul'dah, so you wouldn't be able to teleport. That's what I assumed anyway.
You're in combat.
Or you're in combat. More accurately, you're in combat.
I like that answer better. That's a more satisfying, more accurate answer.
I have a question for Juxta now.
Because then we sit on the cart and we watch Ul'dah. I guess it is the full circle literary plot device thing.
Yeah. Because
when you think about it, we're just so slowly moving away. And you're like, okay, hurry up, get on the cart. Let's just teleport. We're not in battle anymore.
But Juxta, for as long as we've played this game, you have always doubted Alphinaud's intentions. So my question to you now is, what do you think of him now?
Clearly, this was all just his master plan, right?
Do you still think he's a Harrison Wells?
He got all the Scions killed. He's doing pretty good by you.
He's probably a good guy, I guess. Still, although, I'm just saying, maybe he's not actively evil. But he's getting the job done. His actions still fucked up a whole lot of shit.
That's true.
You have more proof now than ever. The Monitors own Ul'dah, and the Scions are all dead because of him. You should be gloating over this man.
He has good intentions, because I could tell that he was actually heartstruck over his little army being...
He's just evil. He can hide it really well.
It was his bruised ego is all it was. He was
That's true.
Yeah.
He's just mad he couldn't do it himself.
Yeah, there you go.
It was cool to finally see them use those little mask things, though.
That's true.
Isn't that what he had on at the end of that cutscene when you meet him and Pippin?
Yeah.
He had his hood and the mask on.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you... Pippin... That was an interesting...
He seems like a badass.
Seems like an interesting addition
someone
to the
remind me. They said he's the son of someone. Remind me who that was.
He's the adopted son of Raubahn.
He's Raubah's adopted son.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that makes sense, I guess. Although it's kind of weird that we didn't hear about him earlier. But if we're sticking with the Game of Thrones thing,
has he never even been mentioned by name before, Ethis?
No, I don't.
I think I remember a Pippin.
And I thought it was kind of lazy when they introduced him. I was like, come on.
I think
there could have been some mention somewhere to do with the Alamigo front.
See, here's what I think. I think that is Nanamo's rape baby.
Oh my God.
because that's what happens. There's a section of the Sastasha map that's called the Sultana's Lap, and there was some really unsorted shit that went down there. So if that's what happened and she ended up pregnant because of it,
it would make sense. Raubahn took the kid,
and Raubahn would have taken the kid.
I think they literally named the Sultana's Lap after the site that she got raped.
Aniro has been reading too much hentai.
It's pirates. Come on.
Look, if 2.55 taught me anything, we're going dark, and we need to go. We need to prepare for it to go really dark.
They needed more characters because since all the Scions are gone, we're making our own little people. It's us, Alphinaud, Yugiri, Pippin, and freaking
Pippin fucked off.
The little what's her face Lalafell.
Luda Rayleigh in the chat says that Pippin was mentioned in the Calamity clips.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Calamity clips.
Yeah. Did someone stump at this already?
Which clips are we talking about?
I have no idea.
Tales from the Calamity that happened around the what was it, the 1 year anniversary of the Calamity.
But he wasn't mentioned in the game, right?
No, I don't think directly. I think maybe mentioned in that. Now I really want to go back and read all of those.
So we are of the opinion then, apparently, the theory that Pippin is Nanamo's child.
I see.
You are of that theory.
No,
I'm not.
Hang on. No. But hang on. The reason that I think that is that it sets up a line of succession. Yeah, because if the Monodorists are trying to usurp the throne, then you have to come in and say that no, this is mine by birthright, and it would make sense that if his origin was something fucked up, that Raoban would take him instead of him being a prince. Right? That I think that makes sense. If his origin has some kind of is sorted in some way, then it makes sense from a story standpoint that Raoban would have sheltered him for his own protection.
Now hold on. How old is the Sultana and how old is Pippin?
Right, Nanamo.
That's a great question. I don't know
says
either.
The lore team confirmed that Nanamo is 25.
Okay.
And Pippin's easily 20. So
I don't know. How old? I don't know how old is Pippin.
She didn't give birth at 9. That's the point.
We don't know. Look, the thing is, we don't know at
this is all
what age these potato people ripen.
I was going to say the physiology of Lalafels are completely different from us. So.
Oh my god!
How old
potato
is
people? I love that. Oh my god!
This is just going so dark.
Potato people. That you just blew my mind. That is amazing.
So does that mean they're grown in the ground?
That's what I'm calling them from now on. Potato people.
Oh my god!
Okay, so
legitimately never heard that.
No, I've never heard that either.
Okay, but no, he doesn't have to be her son to set up this whole ascension of the throne thing.
That's true.
What if he's of some type of Sildan origin?
Well, but they didn't they address Sildan origin in Hildebrand?
Yep.
Yeah.
But again, that's just what they knew. Just because they said they were the last one.
But I think that they put a bow on the Silda stuff, especially when it comes to succession or trying to, the current Ulda versus Silda. There's way more lore in Silda to explore, but I don't think it's gonna come from a storyline like we had with Hildebrand. Okay, I think that would be too much retreading of territory. But it is interesting to note that the exit that we make in the in the 2.55 storyline is through the Sildan aqueducts.
Ruins, yeah. Yep.
And that there was in the 1.0 map, I want to say in Copperbell, that there was a little bit of access to some of that area, and it is obviously not accessible in the current dungeon iteration of Copperbell, but a lot of sections of Copperbell are also inaccessible. So it's I think that the Sildan ruins are something that maybe we'll end up exploring moving forward, but there's just there's way too much with Korthus and Dravania to really expect to go back there in any meaningful way, I think. But that's just, again, this is all my opinion. I just put, I kind of put two and two together between.
It's definitely a really good opportunity at the very least.
Yeah, yeah. But just kind of going back to Pippin for a second, though, I just kind of put together like, okay, well, he's a Lalafell. Nanamo was also a Lalafell, and there was this fucked up thing that happened in Sestasha, and that would be a really good reason to want to hide somebody, and a lot of people brought up that it would be a really lame plot device if they just went, oh, Pippin is the rightful heir to the throne, look at that. But if they made it like really sordid and sort of messed up like that, I think that they could avoid a lot of that criticism.
All right. Now let me ask you a question, because you seem to be wanting the story to go in a really Game of Thrones direction, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, should we be expecting Elfinout and Alisei to get together?
I thought they already had.
Oh God! Ooh. There it is.
Oh,
really?
Wasn't that joining of the grimoires some sort of metaphor?
There you go. There you go. By the way, Game of Thrones premieres tonight at 9:00.
So, going into that cutscene with the Sultana, where you've been asked to step aside and meet with the Sultana, I think I was the only one who felt like this, but I really thought she was going to announce that she was going to make Ulda a democracy basically, and she wanted you to become president, to go for it. Like I thought, I'm going to get to run. I'm going to get to run this city, and it's going to be awesome. And then she died. I'm like, nah,
you were definitely the only one.
I just felt like it was like because she asked you to come have this meeting with her, and then all she asked you is like, watch out for Raoban. Like we could have had this conversation anywhere. I feel like
The
reason she did
that, she was stepping down, and
I think
but she was going to tell everyone that in a minute anyway.
But she knew. I think she, in some way, knew something might happen to her. So she was telling you, of all people, the guy who's toppled all these primals, who's taken down Bahamut, who has saved the realm over and over and over again, that if this doesn't go the right way, I'm telling you because I know you will make sure that this happens one way or another.
I mean,
that's why she's telling you.
You even make a tea party for her.
That's true.
That means something.
That's true. And you cook a whole dinner for her, actually.
I know.
You cook a whole feast for her.
So that brings a question.
Yeah, how's that going to work if you don't have Culinarian at 50? How's that going to work?
I want to know that.
Because at the end of Culinarian's quest line, you make a dinner for the Sultana. That's the level 50 quest for her.
Now I have to level Culinarian, and it'll be really awkward.
I have it leveled. I'm going to go and do it. Like, I haven't done all the quests
They just added in a little cutscene where it was like, thank you for making the feast for the Sultana, but she's not feeling very well right now, and well, thanks anyway.
Poison her.
you come.
You're getting framed again.
Yeah, you come under suspect again. Yeah.
All right. So a few people that have pointed out, Nanamo is obviously going to be some type of family name, right? So perhaps that the one who was raped in the Sultana's lap was a mother, and Pippin could be some type of illegitimate brother.
Okay, that's another possibility. That's a possibility.
This is so dark.
We've all just decided that it's a given that Nanamo was raped at some point.
Somebody was raped.
Somebody important got raped.
God damn it, there was rape.
But that's I'm pretty sure I remember that from some kind of additional lore explanation that there was something sordid that happened
that between some shit
between Mistbeard and the Sultana in the Sultana's lap. I thought it was. Video? Yeah, I thought it was in his one of his Lorecast episodes. I can't remember. I think it was.
It was.
I think that was the direct interview with Koji Fox. Was where they had talked about that. So I mean, if you think I'm crazy, go ahead and listen to that episode. Maybe I am crazy.
No, you're definitely crazy, but maybe you're mistaken.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. There you go. So I want to spend a little bit of time because we're already over an hour here on this discussion, but I want to spend some time talking about Korthus because I have a massive fascination with
massive boner.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go there. Oh my god, you are so predictable. Couldn't you have at least found a drop for it?
No,
God. And it has a slight tilt.
A lilt actually is the term that he used.
Right, little tilt.
I want to talk about Korthus because of course we're going to be given access to Western Korthus that we had already been confirmed that it was still there. There are a couple of NPCs that you get quests from that are right near Snowcloak that talk about crossing what is that, the bridge that was right there.
Right, yeah.
Gargoyles crossing as the calamity was happening and as the snow and ice wall was being formed. So we knew that at some point we could possibly be given access to Korthus, and now of course with the Tour of the North video confirming that we will get access to Korthus. And one of the things that they said in one of the interviews at PAX was that they're paying close attention to a lot of the names that were there from 1.0. And I think I shared a link to a high quality version of the 1.0 Korthus map, but I'd like to spend a little bit of time, especially with us being 1.0 players, myself and Nika. Ethis, did you play 1.0?
No, I didn't.
No, okay. But being that we have some 1.0.
This was huge.
How far did you make it? Did you get to all of the teleport points?
I don't even think I did.
No?
I mean, I remember trying to get
I thought there was
a certain teleport point over and over, but getting aggro and dying every single time.
Yeah, because a lot of the mobs were like in the 90s. You know?
What?
Yeah. There was like level 91 gobs
in 1.0 was much higher. Like there was achievements for going out and slaying all of the H&Ms in the world, and some of them were in those extreme aggro Korthus areas that I feel like I maybe fought them once and never made it back, that kind of stuff. Like, it was ridiculous.
But we are going to be visiting some of these places, and I kind of want to take, Nika, you and I had kind of gone through the video of the tour of the North on the E3, or I'm sorry, the PAX East 2015 wrap up that we did, but I kind of just want to go back over at least the first portion of this tour of the North video, and I don't know, maybe give some predictions as to places that we could end up seeing based on what we see with this with the tour of the North video. So I'm going to did I not set up the video? Hang on, gotta crop the video. I think that they showed us a lot of really interesting stuff in the tour of the North. So let's see here. Juxta, yeah, you're probably going to have to get around here so you can watch the video. Get nice and cozy with Escalia, because you're going to have to share his mic.
I'll show you number 6.
You.
Can I go home now?
Yes. Leave. Get out.
Thank you.
Nobody wants you here. No.
It's getting weird.
Take the dick with you.
You're home with me.
All right, so let's go ahead and bring the tour of the North video up. I'm going to try to keep the chat room.
I don't know if I've seen this. It doesn't sound familiar, but I feel like I would have, like...
I can't believe that you... if you haven't seen that, that's very disappointing.
It was at the live letter at PAX.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
did you not? Did you not watch the live letter from PAX? I mean, I know you weren't on stream with us, but I mean, did you not go back and watch it?
I feel like I should have, but this doesn't seem familiar.
You're a terrible person. Good job. All right, so let's check this out. I love the pullback. The pullback's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna be pausing this as we go.
Okay.
You're ruining my immersion.
Oh, shut up.
Where is Escalia's life?
You.
It's getting weird, guys. It's getting weird.
So who's raping who?
It's debatable at this point.
Escalia's lab? Put the lines together.
Juxta's been the culprit this whole time. Pippin is Juxta's child.
It makes so much sense.
Shinterson says if you donate $20 to the LBR Patreon, you'll get to join their rape ERP group.
Yeah, I was trying to ignore that bit at this. Thanks.
Aura looked really cool.
Now, we can all fly here, right?
In the city, I don't think they'd allow you to fly in the city.
They said you can fly in every new area, including
I don't think the city. I don't think the city.
Maybe not in the workshop.
Well, no, because being a city, you have your mount restrictions.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a very vertically structured city, though, so it wouldn't surprise me. And it's huge.
Yeah, you can
it's
just fly
much,
from the bottom
much
level
bigger.
to the next level up.
Yeah, it's much bigger than the
Fly
other
from,
cities.
fly from foundation to the pillars by flying upwards.
I feel like
Yeah, but I feel... Well, yeah, if they have two different names, though, I feel like they're two different zones.
Probably.
You can fly up, and instead of a ceiling, there's a zone line, and you zone up to the pillars.
That would actually be pretty cool. All right, so here we are in the Korthus Western Highlands. This opening shot here, we've got the Dragoon immortalized on
statue.
Yeah, in the statue. I can't remember. Because they at FanFest they had told some stories about some of the locations in Korthus from 1.0, but I want to say that's maybe the Worm. No, not the Worm King's Perch. What am I looking for here? Maybe the Fury's Gaze. I don't know, but it feels like that's definitely something that's that's named on the map. The problem, I didn't go to a lot of these places in Korthus. I think, the farthest I got in Korthus in 1.0 was basically Camp Dragonhead and I of course Ever Lakes and all of the southern part of Korthus that you had to get to get to the Central Highlands, and then some parts of some parts of Eastern Korthus as well. But I don't know. I think that it's going to be something, and then we see something else on in the peak in the background. So
a monument, some
sort of monument. Oh, we actually see that statue again, so maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's not something as special as I thought it was.
You're on a bridge, so it's a bridge.
So here we've got this big structure. I think that this is the Dusk Vigil. That seems to make a lot of sense given the other vigils, the Stone Vigil in Central as well as Steel Vigil. I think that this big structure right here, this is Dusk Vigil. It looks, I mean, like, I can't tell. Do you guys? It looks kind of abandoned. So maybe that might end up being a dungeon.
If it's
maybe
abandoned and it's in Korthus, up there near Ishgard, maybe it's some type of a really old. I forget the names you guys used from Coil, but Dravanian stronghold.
Well, no, this is definitely. I think this is definitely Ishgardian. It looks like Ishgardian.
Yeah, it's definitely Ishgardian.
Yeah, they've got the gigantic spears that we see being fired off from. I think they're implying that they fire those off from Ishgard proper.
Mm-hmm.
But here we find them again, but they're frozen over. So
this place has obviously been abandoned for a long ass time.
It might be abandoned. I don't know. It could go either way. It might just be an active stronghold.
I felt like this was the sort of front between Ishgard territory and the Dravanians. I just felt like geographically it's in such a strong position and it's such a massive dominating structure. Mm-hmm. I don't have any reason to believe it's abandoned.
And again, I think that the placement on the map, when you look at the 1.0 Korthus map, it being the Dusk Vigil, it makes a whole lot of sense given the placement, and given its size comparative to the other vigils that we've seen, with Stone Vigil being destroyed, as well as Steel Vigil being the staging ground for the what is the fate that happens up there? The big dragon fate.
Svara.
That's it, Svara. Thank you. So I think that maybe it's the last active vigil, or maybe all the vigils have been fucked. So here we go, flying under a bridge here. Yeah, we see this very clearly. This is a broken aetheryte, and then we sort of swoop up here. And when we watched this initially as a part of the stream before the HD YouTube clip came out, couldn't tell if that was some kind of ship or if it was bones. It's definitely clear that it's bones. You can tell, like right here, that those are like a rib cage, and then that's gonna be the skull of a massive dragon. And I think that's Worm King's perch. That the broken aetheryte makes sense being there, as well as a gigantic the remnants of a dragon. I think that's probably. That's probably a good place to put that.
Can't believe this is also the same zone. My goodness.
It is, yeah. So
much.
Also in the Korthus Western Highlands, we have this big, gigantic tower with an aetheryte. It seems like it's one of the only active, maybe non-abandoned structures in the area. Some people have said maybe this is Falcon's Nest, because there was a large, quite sizable tower inside of Falcon's Nest. I'm not so sure, based on the stories that the NPCs told of leaving Falcon's Nest that are on the other side of the Snowcloak Wall. So this could be an entirely new encampment, maybe up near Twin Pools. But the areas that I'm most interested in exploring have to be twin pools in the Dreaming Dragon from 1.0. They were always really, especially the Dreaming Dragon. That's a very compelling, name to want to investigate.
Sorry.
And it never got a chance to. So I would be very interested to see what exactly is at the Dreaming Dragon. And I think that's the last. Yeah, we start moving into the Dravanian hinterlands here. But it's pretty clear that the section of the 1.0 map called the Lance, that's going to be our first push into into the Dravanian lands, and possibly even getting access to Western Korthus, as opposed to tunneling through Snowcloak. It may be we get access to Sea of Clouds first, and then get access to
skydive down on the other side
to Korthus Western Highlands. But I also want to spend a minute talking about the eastern section of the Korthus map. Do you guys think that we'll ever see the eastern section of Korthus? I understand maybe why they wouldn't want to include it with this part of the...
It could easily be a future patch.
It could, although they've never added zones in patches.
And you know what?
That's true.
Prior to Ninja, I have never seen a new job added in a patch. In all the games I've ever played.
Always an expansion.
Yep. Okay, all right.
That's a good point.
All right, point taken. Juxta, I'm pretty sure that you can return it.
If it doesn't happen during 3.x, it won't. If it doesn't happen during 3.x, I don't think it will happen.
I see. I tend to agree. But I think that we might get the eastern part of Korthus as we start, because there's still north of the Black Shroud and east of Korthus, there's that section of the map that contains Ala Mhigo, and as we start pushing towards the Empire. So if that's the direction that they decide to start pushing us in the expansion after Heavensward, if we're pushing now east towards, making a run at the Empire, I think that may be a more appropriate time to introduce Korthus East, Low, and Highlands.
We know it's not completely destroyed, or... Like, we know it's still things are happening.
I think there's more evidence that the eastern part of the map is still there, given that there's still a bridge there. Like the entirety of Battle on the Big Bridge happens on that's specifically that's the Griffin Crossing that would take you to the lower part of the eastern the eastern lowlands. So yeah,
I did not make that connection.
I would say I would actually say that there's pretty strong evidence. There's more evidence for the eastern part of Korthus to exist than we would have believed, with Western. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. But let me before we move off of Korthus here for a second, let me tell you how bothered I am by the edit that was done between 1.0 and 2.0 of the Korthus map, and just completely removing the Korthus Central Lowlands. When you zoned from Mordona, you used to zone into a section of the map called the Korthus Central Lowlands, and they have been completely bypassed now to take you straight to the Central Highlands.
Where's the show me the central on this map, like where it is we zone into?
Okay, so here's Central Korthus as it exists now. Here's basically where we zone in. Here's where we zone in. Right here's the nail. Right here is basically where that crater is.
I'm not sure how they would ever be able to put the
how would they go back and put it in? Yeah, because look at it. Like that's they cut all of that out. That's a significant portion of that map.
I guess
unless the lowlands are literally lower than the highlands, and they somehow allow us to go down.
No, I think at this point that they don't exist anymore.
Just wrote it off.
The calamity destroyed the lowlands, because I don't see how they could ever
that
put
area
those in.
Is a complete mess. The lowlands borders with the West Shroud. Now, if you go to the North Shroud and you travel west of Foregold Float and you look sort of southwest and you see the piece of Dalamud that's fallen there, it is completely obliterated everything. And that's basically the Coerthus lowlands that you're looking at there.
So it has been just destroyed, essentially.
Now I need to go see that. I want to see that.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm expecting, because we've had these rumors, and I need to make it clear to everyone that this is totally unconfirmed, but we've had rumors of data mining revealing West Shroud in the data files currently. And if we turn out to see that, a lot of that is going to start to border towards the lowlands and border towards these completely obliterated sections. So, yeah, I mean, if we see them, they might be part of the same zone, or like we're saying, it might just be not worth going there at all.
You know, it's interesting that West Shroud and the Korthus lowlands got it so bad because they don't necessarily have the closest proximity to where Carteneau is, to where the actual epicenter of the calamity happened. And so I have to wonder what was the impetus to make that damage so severe.
Big chunk of Dalamud falling on your face.
Yeah, they got one of the major bulkheads. We got the three coils.
I mean,
we had one of them dropping on Mordona and revealing the Crystal Tower and just completely obliterating that area. And then we've got the one in the sort of northwest Shroud area, basically doing the same thing.
Imagine Dalamud, huge moon, right? It explodes. Now, in the cutscene, we see all the pieces from the bottom hitting Carteneau and around there, but you have to remember, too, that like the top of Dalamud would have shot up into the stratosphere, traveled who knows how far, and fell into other parts of Eorzea. So I guess it's not completely out of... I mean, I'm not obviously a physicist or anything like that, but it's not completely out of the question that huge chunks of that did fall in areas, further away from Carteneau.
Right. Yeah, because it just...
we need to realize as well that the coils are, for all intents and purposes, sentient, and they were seeking out Bahamut, and they're actually tunneling underground. So even in spite of what we're seeing on the surface, there's massive, massive damage being done to those areas underneath the ground where we explore the coils.
Good point. I'm actually I'm trying to find the Black Shroud map from 1.0 to see exactly where, and I can't seem to find it. It's got everything else other than the Black Shroud, of course, because it was. Oh, there it is. So here we got. Yeah, here's.
Holy F! That's what you guys used to run around in.
Oh yeah.
That's worse than Utunga Jungle.
It was legitimately awful. So here we see the west part of the Black Shroud. Everything that should have been obliterated by the calamity. And what's interesting to note is that the zone line to Korthus that would zone you into eastern Korthus was actually right next to Falgord Lake, which obviously still exists and still is the zone line between North Shroud and Korthus, right? Am I correct in that? Is North Shroud and Korthus connected? Yeah. So that zone line still exists. With West Korthus being all messed up with, for example, Crimson Bark. And Pixie Falls and all of these areas, Turning Leaf, all of them getting ostensibly obliterated. But it doesn't. I don't know. They don't. Are they? I'm trying to look at the big map now to see how close.
The stream is asking if they can see the map too.
I'll go ahead and share the website. Sure. It would take a lot of time to kind of crop this stuff together. But yeah, I mean, you can see on the wider Eorzea map that the Black Shroud and Korthus, they do
share a huge border.
Yeah, they do literally border. So I could see that maybe if West Shroud got really fucked up the way that they said it did, that the lowlands could also be pretty severely screwed up. But
plus, the other thing to mention too is, like Ethis said, if the coils are down there grinding through the earth, that could cause some type of tectonic plate shifts, which is why what used to be the entrance to the central highlands in the lowlands are so different now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of points in the map that have been moved around, maybe not so satisfyingly so, and I think that this was one of the big ones. But it doesn't give me a whole lot of hope that we'll ever see the lowlands, even if they are fucked up. To be honest, from what I've researched about the data mining that people have done to find the areas in West Shroud, it seems more like additional map data to be able to satisfyingly fill in that view from North Shroud as opposed to or East Shroud. I can't remember. Or no, Central Shroud.
North Shroud.
North Shroud. Thank you.
Well, you can see it from Central and North.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though.
Yeah, I think that people might. I think that that's maybe more wish fulfillment than it is, like a clear indication that we're ever going to be going back to those zones, because all of these zones are made with a whole lot of detail and a whole lot of care, and just because there's additional zone info in one zone or two zones doesn't mean that we'll actually ever necessarily see those zones ever again. And I'm pretty sure that Square Enix has said flat out that we're probably not going to go back there ever again. So
having not played 1.0, did like something great happen in this zone? Did you make it with a girl there or something? Because you are really into this zone. Like, I've never seen you so impassioned about something like a piece of the map being missing.
I mean, your jimmies are quite rustled. If I do say so myself.
Come on now. No, I think that it's really interesting that they're, first of all, that they took such a massive map, such as the 1.0 Korthus map, and then only gave us one section of it when 2.0 came out. That always bothered me, because Korthus was legitimately probably the most interesting place to explore, because it was also the zone that carried with it the most danger. So that, if you actually go and look for videos of like people exploring Eagle's Rise or Korthus Eastern Highlands, Twin Pools and parts of the Western Highlands, they're very hard to find because those areas were really challenging to get to. And so I kind of think that the rarity of context for some of these maps, especially for me, because I never saw a lot of these, and the way that they're going to be built up is really fascinating, because the transition from 1.0 to 2.0 was really fascinating, and how loyally they took a lot of those maps and were able to adjust them into really well-woven zones. So I think that the map design has always been something that's been very interesting to me. And as Korthus is the most interesting example because we get to see that built over time. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm interested in it. You jerk.
I'm just saying, like, we just spent almost as much time on that as we did like a lot of the story.
Yeah, well, I think that Korthus is a really interesting place, and it's worth talking about.
Snow is pretty cool, guys.
Well, it didn't always used to have snow,
but it's white.
1.0 didn't have snow.
Why is it white then?
The truth is,
we don't know.
That is where Aniro lost his beard and had to settle for the Mongolian thing. So there's always going to be a special place in his heart.
Try to get back there, damn it! I just want my beard.
It's like it's waiting for him.
I lost it somewhere in the Western Highlands. A drake killed me, and I never got it back.
Frozen in the snow. They're just waiting to be discovered.
Anero's beard. That should be a quest in the new 3.0. And then you get and sort of like how you can unlock the ponytail styles
when you do the Anero's beard. You can have women as well.
Make it happen, Square Enix. Make it happen.
That would be the ultimate ode.
Oh god,
it would.
But you still can't see it when you put a helmet on and open the visor.
So as we push farther north, there are much more interesting areas of the map that have been hinted at in terms of the greater Eorzean map. Some of these Dravanian areas and also the abandoned Sharlayan city or encampment or whatever you want to call it.
Which we don't even know what's left of that at this point, because that was the place that got quote unquote wiped off the map, wasn't it? That Moonbreeder was
no, that's I don't think that's correct.
So the thing with the Sharlayans is that they built a city in the south of Dravania to sort of, observe and study happenings in Eorzea. Then they've got their island proper, which is up to the north, which is where they're native to.
Okay.
And that's where they fled when Gaius van Belsar started invading Eorzea, and after negotiations failed, they all fled up there. They abandoned the city. That's the island that's been destroyed.
Okay, so it was some Dravanian place.
It's a ghost city.
Right, it's a ghost city that used to contain their great library. Is that correct, Ethis?
Yes.
And
that's actually right.
Here's a picture of what most I think some people think is the Great Library. Ethis, I know that you had pointed this specific screenshot out to me last night, but I think that there's a lot of really compelling evidence that lends itself to say that this is the Sharlayan I don't know what you would call it, city, second city, encampment, whatever you want to call it. So, Ethis, why don't you tell us some of your theories about this specific place in the Tour of the North video?
Well, basically, when we started seeing these shots, you can see straight up it's a very Hellenic structure, and the Sharlayans have been sort of imposed against the Imperials in a lot of ways as being the more Hellenic side to the Roman Imperial side, and it's very clearly a different architecture to the Ishgardians or anything else we've seen. And the positioning of it is exactly where we know this Sharlayan city to be. So, I'm basically 90% sure that that's what we're looking at. And this screenshot in particular is very, very similar to a lot of artistic renditions we've seen throughout history of the fabled Library of Alexandria. Which is what has me convinced that this is our library that we've been sort of hinted at and promised, and is certainly going to do me out of a job.
I was going to say that is an impressive building right there. Like, the more that I look at
I don't mind. It might make my job a lot easier. I can just switch to reading.
There you go.
You can go there and just read about whatever.
Yeah, well, it would be kind of interesting if you got to go there and it would be like a gigantic lore dump that you could just kind of read through.
Just pop up all these books that you can read through. Oh,
absolutely.
Man, I bet Ethis would be in heaven.
I would actually probably take the time to check it out.
I would too.
But you never read quest text. What?
That's a joke. That's actually very much not true. So
did you read the little pieces of journal when you did Tamtara?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I did, and I bitched that my friends didn't want to let me because I was the only one who hadn't done it. And I was like, no, I have to read all of it.
Weren't you the tank?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
What are they going to do about it?
You get to set the pace.
a lot of times, the text that I glaze over at is the fetch quest text. But even some of those, again, the one that jumps to mind are the two NPCs that are hanging out just outside of Snowcloak. That a lot of those can actually give you some really interesting lore answers to.
Usually,
to
holiday stuff is the stuff that I don't even.
Reading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And one more thing that I wanted to talk to you about specifically, Ethis, is you did a video maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, about Belias and the possibility that we might be going to a place called Abalathia's Spine, and that we could get to know a primal named Belias. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, we've been hearing about Belias since I think it was the Summoner questline. Yeah, well, Summoner questline in 2.0 has us fighting a Belias Eggy, which is mentioned as an Elder Primal in the final quest for that. And it's not a super popular opinion when I put it out. But if you have a look at the flavor text for the Chocobo Triple Triad card, it actually mentions quite directly that the black Chocobos come from a place called Abalathia's Spine. So my assumption is that, given we've had no real indication of Coerthus breeding these, I think we'll be traveling there personally. We'll be traveling to the Chocobo Forest in Abalathia's Spine, and we'll be taming one. And there's two things we know for sure that we're going to find there. The first is the Hellsguard Rogaden. We know that's the area that they're from, and they guard the volcanoes up there, which they believe to be a sort of gateway to the underworld, and that should make some really interesting dungeons, I think. The second is the Gigas. Before they migrated down to Mor Dhona, when the Crystal Tower was uncovered and they started worshipping the Crystal Tower, they were originally from Ablathia's spine.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some hints.
Sorry, go on.
We've had some hints that, there's going to be a third primal. And Belias is a name that we've already got. Belias in Final Fantasy XII shares a lot of real physical similarities to the Gigas and their design. And the subtitle for Belias in Final Fantasy XII is Belias the Gigas.
Yeah. And
so I think there's a lot of compelling evidence there.
And that there is also some evidence that the Gigas primarily migrated through the Copperbell mines. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay, so it's an interesting, there's that door at the very end of Copperbell, and we don't know what's on the other side of that, or where that goes, and that's just, I mean, it is interesting to mention that because Gigas weren't at all, even a presence in 1.0, and that a lot of people forget that specific plot point, that the Gigas migrated to that portion of Mor Dhona in worship of the Crystal Tower. So
we had some Mor Dhona leave quests that were concerned with this, and we found a lot of the Gigas were actually carrying idols of the Crystal Tower, like little statuettes. A really interesting theory that was going around at the time there was that the Gigas might actually be genetically engineered by the Allagans, in the way that we see a lot of these really giant Allagans in the Crystal Tower and in Labyrinth of the Ancients, of course. That Amon was maybe experimenting with some sort of, ethereal genetic manipulation, and the Gigas were early experiments of this and were used as manual labor to construct the Crystal Tower. And that they've sort of passed that down in a sort of oral tradition. And when the Crystal Tower has been re-uncovered, they've had sort of this cult movement towards it.
I think really that's a really compelling theory. And
it's really interesting.
When I heard it, it's one of those where I was like, oh, that just feels right. Like, it might, it could end up being something completely different, but that just there's something about that feels like it makes sense.
You know what it feels like? It feels like Square Enix.
Yeah.
That seems like one of their stories. No, it feels like one of their stories.
It does.
Well, I think that's the most important thing to do, I think, when you're theorizing about stuff like this, is that a lot of people don't want to put their opinions out because they're so concerned about getting it right, and they're so concerned about having it down, then people are going to prove them wrong in a couple of months' time. But that's not really what I'm about, and I think it's about telling a story, and it's about thinking, what can they do? What would be good for them to do? What would we do if we were in the position where we had this stuff to work with? And I definitely think that that direction for the Gigas would be a really interesting one for them to take.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I agree. I like that idea that, there are a lot of people who are just obsessed with getting it right. And one of the things about this show is that, we like to just have discussions about stuff, whether we're right or wrong. And, a lot of people like to point out when we are wrong. And that's fine. I'm okay with being wrong.
They have plenty of opportunities.
The discussion is what's important. The discussion is what's interesting. The conversation is what's interesting.
Right.
And that's something that Ethos does very well on his channel. And again, if this episode hasn't convinced you enough, then just watching one of his videos will. So check out his channel over at youtube.com/EthosAsher. Ethos, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a really fascinating discussion, and I think we all have are going to walk away with this with maybe some different ideas, and I think that's really awesome. So thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right. So I think that's going to do it for part 2 of Limit Break Radio here. Thank you so much for tuning in on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. If you're listening on the podcast and you want to be part of the live fun, then make sure that you head on over to twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio and follow us and join us every time we go live. You should know by now that's what's up. That's what we do. I also want to thank all of these lovely people who are hanging out with us in Coerthas. We've got quite a crowd going here today. So thank you, all of you, for hanging out with us this afternoon. It's been awesome. If you are listening live right now on the Twitch stream, don't worry. We're gonna go. We're gonna go away for a few minutes, take a quick break, let this hot, stinky, sweaty room air out a little bit, and then we'll be back with part 3. We're going to be checking out more music. We're going to be checking out an encore presentation of limit breaking music, and we're going to be checking out some of the great musical talents in the Final Fantasy XIV community. So head on over to our website, limitbreakradio.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Head on over to facebook.com/limitbreakradio. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. That's @limitbreakradio. We are on YouTube. You can check out all of the episodes, the Twitch streams from YouTube, if that's your preferred way of listening to the show, and that's at youtube.com/limitbreakradio. We hope that you found this conversation to be interesting, and if you have, and you think that Limit Break Radio is worth your support, head on over to patreon.com/limitbreakradio to support us and this unique blend of Final Fantasy XIV podcasting and eventually video game podcasting that we're going to be producing. And if you've already given our deepest thanks to you, so thank you so much for helping make this show what it is. That's going to do it for Limit Break Radio. For my co-host, Ascalia Rayumasa, Kalo Landis, Juxtaposition, and Nika Kyanian, and big thanks to Ethis Asher for joining us today. I'm Aniro. Keep listening.